We go.
No,
We're going live, guys.
we are live. We are live. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome once again to the Carolina Retirement Planners Weekly Happy Half Hour. Heard every Thursday at 4:30 right here on wherever you click to get here, or if you're watching it later, wherever you click to see us later. For those who don't know, I'm David Shakavich, the founder and president of Carolina Retirement Planners. And joining me on the screen is the infamous Sam Shakavich, my daughter and partner in the business. And we welcome you
Hey.
once again to this is going to be a fun one. We're going to make it more fun than you think. I call it, in case you can't see it, I call it RMD wisdom, because RMDs are so much fun and such a crazy system. I sometimes think that the government makes it deliberately confusing. They wouldn't do that, would they, though?
Never.
Byzantine rules and I mean,
No.
the worst that happens is we pay too much in taxes. But we also have another person. Sam, why don't you introduce the third leg to our stool here, who joins us also pretty much every week.
Yeah, that would be our director of client fund, Amy Dresky.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Hey,
How
Amy.
how do you guys
Amy,
be today? I'm feeling
Amy is the
cheesy.
one.
I'm feeling very cheesy today.
Yeah, I'm feeling
My
good
dog
because
is
it's
like feeling like I don't know what she's doing over there.
You wouldn't be going
national.
right down the tube now, would you, here?
I mean, I might be going down the tube, or I might be a little quirky. I don't know what's happening.
Well, we're making some terrible puns because as those of you who visit us very often, and I see that Robert is here, who's a regular,
Bob.
Brenda, our own Brenda, who is one of our takes care of us, is here. But those who know, every week we like to bring up what day it is. For somebody declares everything's a certain day, and this is a day that's both cheesy and tubey. And what day is it, Amy?
National Mac and Cheese Day. What?
Nas-
I tried to
National
put on a dress
Macaroni.
that was like Matt looked like cheese. I don't know.
Well, you
I was
got
stretching
close as
today.
anyone might.
Yeah.
You could have wore a tube dress. That might have,
Oh,
but
I have one. Why didn't I? I
uh,
didn't. I should have.
next year,
Yeah.
next year,
Next
next
year.
time it
Next year.
rolls around on
I will.
on
I will.
Thursday. So,
I could have
so it is.
worn a holy dress. Swiss cheese holes. Oh, that one went over your head. Who's the blonde
Yeah,
one? I mean, what?
yeah.
All right, I'm back to work. I gotta go.
Okay. I also see that Grace has joined us, and Brad, as always, has joined us. And we also hope you all are enjoying some fortuitous drinks. Sam, what are you drinking this morning or this
Uh,
afternoon?
it is it is the afternoon, Dad. A nice Vino Verde on
Vino
this.
Verde.
I know it's a little overcast, probably gonna rain, but it's been hot this week. So a nice, crisp, refreshing Vino Verde.
Yeah, if you
I
haven't
have a
tried
Corona
that,
Premier. It's like light and refreshing. Yeah, I'm feeling you.
I got iced tea because I've learned not to
Nice.
drink alcohol when we have to talk some more. Yeah, but trust me, I will make up for it later on. Vino Verde is one of those great, if you haven't tried it on a hot summer day, it's one of those go-to cheap white wines. What country is it from?
Portugal.
Portugal. Yeah. So it's kind of like, it's not quite champagne, is it? It's
It's a
just
little effervescent.
just a little enough sparkle to give you a
Oh, I
tickle
love
your
that word.
nose, but not enough to kind of need a cork that's all wired in. And
Mhm.
so that's a really good one.
Ooh, Bob is drinking a Teach's Peaches from Edward Teach. That is a great beer.
That
Also
is
very
great beer. I
refreshing.
do love that one.
Mhm.
Okay. And where did I leave off? I got Brad and Nina and Bruce and Phil. It's good to see you here. And uh, Teresa. Teresa shows up a lot,
Yeah, I know that lady. I know her. Yeah, I've known
Yeah.
her my whole life.
Even before that.
Feels like forever.
Grace, it's good to see you. And and we said hi to Rob. So yeah, today is going to be an interesting one. I wonder if I should start in just to be sure we have time and we can
Yeah,
kind of have some
you
fun
said it was a
at the end.
long one today, Dad. So why
Yeah,
don't we
you
go
never
ahead and
know.
get started?
I never know how long it'll be. Well, I kind of know, but
Oh,
uh,
wait. Grace is drinking a Biltmore Chardonnay.
a
Ooh,
Biltmore Chardonnay.
That
Wow.
that
very
sounds
nice.
fancy. I want some of that.
Just while we're on that subject, um, and while we're arranging things, I don't know how many folks listening have been to the Biltmore, but up in the mountains. But some years ago they started a winery, and so they grow grapes there and they make wine, and they have a tasting room. And apparently the Biltmore Winery tasting room is the most frequent tasting room in the United States. They are number one, bigger than any of those out in California or wherever else they grow grapes. So it's just sort of an interesting bit of trivia.
I'm going
That
to
is
steal that
very
trivia from you.
interesting.
Thank you.
So that's
Must be a big room.
it is a big room, a big long line trailing in. Sandy and I went up there, stayed there a few years ago, and we were waiting in line, and she's looking, you had to pay more, but there was a special tasting in the basement, chocolate and wine tasting. And so we were just time to sneak into the last spot on it, so we didn't have to wait in line for the big mass tasting. So great if you go there. We went to a champagne tasting there on another trip too. That was great. So anyway, I love the Biltmore. Sometime I could wax poetically about the good things here, but we are talking about RMD wisdom. Sam, what does RMD stand for?
That would be your required minimum distribution.
Right, and if you right, I even wrote it down right here to
I
remind me
guess
as well.
I knew what it was, Dad. I promise.
I know. I just, for everybody else, if you're one of those visual people, there it is. Now, what is an RMD? There's a lot of twists and turns, and I'm not going to go into all the details because we only got 20 minutes or so, but I'm going to go into the key ones you need to know. But let's back off and start at the top. And you think about it, while you're working or we're working, you generated generally some kind of wage. You work for someone, they cut you a paycheck. And usually they take out the income tax. Each year, each paycheck, they take out so much for state and federal tax. And then the rest is what you actually get in your paycheck, the money you get to go put in the bank. And you remember there was a time when pretty much everyone got the paycheck before all this automatic deposit occurred. But anyway, now, if you work for, say, a big company and they had a 401k plan or a 403b plan or a TSP, a government, what you would do is you would sign up and say, I want you to put so many $100 a month into my 401k. And so even before they took out any income tax, so much money would go from there into your IRA, into your 401k. If you were working for yourself, you didn't have a 401k, you might put it into an IRA to say instead, pretty much the same thing. Now, it's important to know that when you look at your IRA, you always realize that part of it is yours and part of it is the IRS, because they haven't taken any tax out of it yet. Now, why did they do this? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, having these wages, automatically put in, it was a simple system to save. People would save more for their retirement, and that was a good thing. They also, the general theory was, hey, while I'm working and I'm younger, making lots of money, I'm probably in a higher tax bracket than I will be when I retire. And so it's nice because I could put the money away before these higher taxes and pay less in tax later when I retire. Now, I suspect many of you listening to this are scratching your head because, yeah, everyone told you that, but now you're retired and you're finding out you're in just as high a tax bracket. it isn't low like you expected because you don't have kids to deduct and all these other things, but that was the idea. So I have all this money there and it grows there. I don't have to pay tax on it if I haven't taken it out. And let's say you're one of those folks, you got a bunch of money in your IRA or 401k, and you want to leave it to your kids, or you want to leave it to your spouse when you're gone to help support them. And so you don't take anything out. At some point, you're going to reach age 72. Right now, it used to be 70 and a half. It's now age 72. At the year you turn age 72, they want you to start taking money out. They kind of said, you had this money long enough, time to cough up some of the taxes, right? And so they're going to require that you take this RMD. And as an aside, the year you turn 72, you actually don't have to take it out that year. You can wait to April the next year, but that year you're going to have to take it and another one out. So you're going to be taking more out, and it may drive you into a higher tax bracket. Most people probably shouldn't do that. You get to age 72 and you have to take this RMD out, and some of the money in that the IRS will tax you then based on your tax bracket. And remember, if you're already got a pension and Social Security that you're paying tax on, the RMD goes on top of that. So you're going to pay the taxes on your RMD at the highest rate, your highest rate, not the average rate, but pour it onto into the highest rate. And then what's left is yours. Now, one thing I want to mention, a lot of people get confused. They think, oh, they're going to make me take my RMD out. I'm going to lose all that money. It's gone. No, the tax is gone, but the rest is still yours to keep. Just keep that in mind. It isn't like the money's going away, just the taxes are going away. So now, when this money, it goes, you keep taking RMDs out till you die. And when you die, things happen. I'm going to get to how much the RMDs are in a minute, but I want to picture when you die. If you're married, the money usually, if you've structured the documents right, goes to your spouse. They get the money, and your spouse will have to take an RMD out, generally based upon their age. This is really important though, especially if, say, your spouse dies when you're under 60. You have a couple ways you can fill out the paperwork when you inherit that IRA. If you're under 59 and a half when you get the money and you take a withdrawal, you're going to pay a penalty because you can't take money out of an IRA till you're over 59 and a half. But if you're a spouse and you fill the paperwork out right, you can still take money out without paying that penalty. And that may be money you need. So just a little something to store away if your spouses might pass away before you hit age 60. After 60, it's pretty much yours. You can take it out. Now, if you're not married or you both have passed, the money goes to your kids, and years ago, it was pretty simple. Your kids got it. They could take out whatever they wanted, but they had a required minimum distribution that they had to take out every year. Well, to make life even more fun, a change that occurred a few years ago, but were changed even more this year, is if your kids or grandkids inherit this money, they have two things to worry about. One is called the 10-year rule. They have to take all that money out within 10 years and pay the tax on it. So if you got a bunch of money in there, that may drive them into a higher tax bracket, and they need to look at what they take out. It didn't used to be you had an RMD, it was just you had 10 years. Well, guess what? They've ruled on the IRS rulings, and if you were older than age 72 and you passed away and you had started your RMDs, your kids are going to have to continue RMDs. There is going to be a minimum amount they're going to have to take out over those 10 years and then have it all out by the end of 10 years. And the number they use is a different number than you had. It's a number based on their age. So I think the thing here is if you're inheriting an IRA from someone that's not your spouse, you need to make sure you call somebody like us, somebody that knows the rules, and make sure you know how to fulfill them all, because there's penalties if you miss taking those RMDs that you're required to. It just gets more complicated. Now, let's talk about how they calculate RMDs. And they use a table. And I won't go through the whole table, but I'll show you how they do it, because it's one of those crazy things they do. When you're age 72, there is a table called life expectancy table. And the life expectancy table, and it's a new one, just issued recently, a 72-year-old is expected to live 27.4 years. That's the life expectancy they say a 72-year has. And so you have to take all your IRAs, add them up, and divide by 27.2 to understand to figure out what your minimum required distribution is. And that's crazy. Who thinks in terms of 27.2? So one way to do it is to say, if I take 1 and I divide it by 27.2, I will get a number. Sam, what is the number if I divide 27.4 by 1? If I divide it into 1, what do I get?
3.65.
So
Dang, you're good.
At 70, yeah, she's got a mathematical mind here, you know.
So
at 72, you need to take out 3.65% of your IRA money that first year. Now, the next year at age 73, your life expectancy has gone down. You're a little older. It's 26.5. If I do that same division, Sam, what do I get?
3.77.
3.77%. See, the percent goes up every year. Now at age 80, your life expectancy is 20.2. What do you get then?
4.6.
4.6%. How about if you live to 100, your life expectancy is 6.4. What's the new percentage?
They'd make you take out 15.6%.
And let's just say you've been eating right, exercising, doing all those right things. You've had a clean life, thought good thoughts, and you live to 120. At 120, the government says the table is 2 years. If I divide 1 by 2, what do I get? I can do that one. At age 120, you got to take out half what's left of your IRA. So this is sort of the way the system works. Now, this is an interesting piece of trivia that I always joke you can bore people at your next barbecue or cocktail, party. Think about it.
If you dazzle them with your knowledge.
Yeah, bedazzle them with your knowledge. You can show them stuff, stuff that they really. But if you're 20, the government is saying, if I'm 72. My life expectancy my average life expectancy is 27.4 years. Well, think about it. If I add 27 and 72, I'm up to what? Like 99? Is it that high? I guess it is. The average 72-year-old is not going to live into their late 90s. Right? Where did they come up with this number? And these numbers here, these life expectancies, are the life expectancy. It assumes that this 72-year-old is married to a 62-year-old. They're married to someone 10 years younger. And the life expectancy is called a joint life expectancy, a combination of the two. And the there's people that calculate all this. At an insurance company, what do they call those people? Somebody, you two know what who calculates these numbers at an insurance company?
Like an underwriter,
It's an actuary.
an actuary.
Yeah, you know what an actuary
My
is.
actuary knew that.
Yeah, an actuary
Well, there you
actuary is like an accountant without the personality, So, so this is where it comes from. And by the way, if you robbed the cradle and married someone younger than 10 years, more than 10 years younger than you, and with today's pharmaceutical technology that's becoming more popular, you actually get to go to another set of tables and get an even lower number because one of you is going to live even longer. So that's a little bit there. So a little lesson on the life expectancy. One other key point I want to cover, and that is you cannot use your RMDs to convert to a Roth. If you've been on our happy half hour or gone to rogo.com or come to one of the classes we've done or the workshops we've done at Brunswick Community College or UNCW, you know how we talk about Roths and how important it is. What's the moral for paying taxes, Sam?
You want to always pay taxes at the lowest rate.
Ed Slott, we take twice a year, we go to workshops with Ed Slott, an IRA elite group to calculate taxes. Roths are important. And you may be sitting there thinking, well, I'm just going to not take it out. And when I get to 72 and take it out, I'm going to convert it to a Roth. No, you cannot convert the RMD amount to a Roth. If you take out more than that, you can. But another reason why doing a lot of RMDs before you hit 72 is important. They're talking about raising the 72 to 73 and even more as the years to come. And that if you're smart, you say, wow, that's great. I have more years to do Roth conversions. If you're maybe don't know the tricks, you might say, wow, that's great. I can wait longer. So my RMDs will be even bigger and I pay even more in taxes. So that's a little there. Now we have one other thing that I'm going to quickly cover because this is an important lesson in the RMD world. And that has to do with how I can take my RMDs out if I have more than one account that has, money I haven't paid the tax on.
Ooh, nice.
If you have all your money, let's say you have money and all of it's in 3 different IRA accounts and they all have $100,000 in, and the RMDs this year is 5%. So you're gonna owe $300,000 at 5%. You're gonna have to take out $15,000 that year in RMDs. Now, if they're all IRAs, you can do whatever you want. You can say, I'm going to take all 15,000 out of this one, and I'm going to let these 3 grow. Or I'm going to take 10 out of here and 5 out of here. You got total flexibility as long as the total amount you take out equals this total RMD amount. Now, if they're not all IRAs, some are 401ks, thrift savings plans, kind of a government accounts, self-employment plans, SEP plans, or 403Bs, the rules change. If they're all different and they're all one of these, I got to take 5 out of each of them. I can't say, well, I don't want to take anything out of this. This is down. I want to take it out of this year. You don't have that flexibility. You have to take 5 out of everything. If they're all 403Bs, you kind of have that, but few people have all 403Bs. So it's a reason why you may want to get everything into the IRA form, because when you do hit 72, it's going to give you flexibility. And if you don't know this rule and you don't follow it, then you can get a penalty, because if you fail to take that money out, the penalty is 50% of what you didn't take out. So you want to get it right. But this is another key difference between the two, and one that will pay in years to come. So That is our little crash course on RMD wisdom and the key things you may need to know and worry about that. And a lot of things with why we do Roth conversions and get the taxes out and how we position the money and why we want different tax buckets comes from this. So
I think you can, just a quick note while you're up there. I think that you can aggregate a SEP unless you are still actively working.
it could be,
For
it
them.
could be. The rules
I just
are
want to
pretty-
be, yeah, I think unless you're actively still working for an employer with a SEP, you can aggregate that with an IRA.
Okay.
Just
Um,
nitpicky there.
But the one clear
But
way to
every
think
other
about it,
retirement, a SEPment is simple, but every other retirement account, like a 401k, 403b, every other employer-based retirement account would have to have the RMDs taken out separately.
so our lesson for July afternoon on this. So what are we doing next?
And I also want to point out is just because of what I'm seeing in there, if you have an annuity, as long as the annuity is an IRA annuity, that counts in that first column there as something that can be aggregated. So what we will often do with our clients is we will pick and choose, as long as it's an IRA annuity, we will pick and choose the years, whether, depending on how the market's doing, or if they have income riders on the annuities, we will decide which years and how much of the RMD we will take from the annuities versus the market. So those absolutely can be aggregated and part of your flexible RMD plan.
We've done a lot of that this year because most people, their stock market money is down, their annuity money hasn't gone down. So we may take the RMDs this year from the annuities and let the stock market money all there so we can recover. So a lot of tricks, but more than I can possibly squeeze, or we can possibly squeeze into just one little happy half hour, or it becomes less happy if we cram much more in. So, and I guess I see Dan is with us, and Dan and Barb.
And Miranda. And I don't know if we got to say hey to earlier, Jay and Carter and Mary.
We did not. And Nancy's here also.
So
and she has some questions, but more than I can cover here. If you give us a call, we can answer those for you. Okay. What it is, we're pushing to the top of the hour. What is the last thing we do?
It is everyone's favorite part. It is our wine drawing. So each week we raffle off 2 bottles of wine delivered directly to your door from Fermental Bottle Shop. And to enter, all you have to do is, if you are on Facebook, each week we'll put up a little thing that says, a little event notification for our happy half hour event. And if you just click, I am attending, I'm going, we'll get you an entry into it. And if you share that with friends, we'll give you an additional entry. And if you are on our email list, each week we'll send you out a little email letting you know what our topic is going to be. And if you respond to that email, we'll get you in here another time. And if you share that with a friend and let us know, we'll get you in here again.
So many ways.
Yes. Our wine winner this week is, here, gotta be careful, got a lot of my desks today. Stan and Sheila W.
Nice. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You are our wine winners this week.
Yay. Congratulations. Yes.
To everybody else who didn't win, please continue to enter. We love giving away wine. As you can see, we have given away, how many weeks have we been doing this now, Amy?
This is 102. 102.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
right? I know.
We've given away a lot of wine.
We have. It's
We should send ourselves a bottle for each bottle of wine.
There, we've literally given away
Right.
hundreds of bottles.
hundreds and hundreds and
Hundreds
hundreds.
of bottles now.
It's a lot of
So-
wine. I
So
know.
keep listening.
But
I gotta,
my mom keeps
gotta think
saying,
about what to
keep
do next
answering.
week. I'll think about what to do next week. One week I'm going to do, I've been thinking of one where there's several tricks the government, I don't want to say tricks, but probably tricky things the government does to increase our taxes without us knowing it, the different strategies they use. And that might make an interesting one too.
Not
That
surprised.
sounds good to you folks. Drop us a line. Let me know. You want to know the sneaky ways they increase the tax on your Social Security or your Medicare or some other things as well.
Ways
That's
of
one I
raising
don't think
taxes
I've-
without just raising taxes, right?
How they can raise taxes
Yeah.
and you don't even know they did it, how they did it.
Yeah.
Behind the
Yeah.
curtain.
Yeah,
So-
pull that curtain back. I want to see what's happening. I don't like it. Man,
I
Okay.
don't like it either.
no.
Well,
but-
with
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
we will see you next Thursday for another
Yeah.
happy. hour.
Never finish a beer. One day I will, but yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
Have fun.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah. No more rain. Get it out of here. I'm over
I
it.
know. Try to stay dry. Bring your raincoat.
You need rain. Come on. The
You don't need
farmers
no more
out,
rain. No more rain. All right.
farmers out there, you know.
No more rain. Bye.
Have fun.